It all started on a quiet Friday night. The kind of night where the hum of your computer feels louder than the world outside. Jason, a 24-year-old college student, had been scrolling through Reddit like he always did, searching for something unusual, something that would make his pulse race. He had always been curious about dark corners of the internet, the forums that people whispered about but never openly discussed. That night, he found one. It wasn't on the first page of Google. It wasn't on Reddit, 4chan, or any social platform he knew. The forum appeared through a strange URL, hidden deep inside a chain of links in a thread about glitching reality. Jason hesitated. The page didn't have a regular interface. No ads, no usernames, just a black screen with glowing red text. Welcome to the Watchers. Only those who see can understand. Proceed if you dare. His heart skipped a beat. Curiosity overpowered his fear. He clicked the Enter button. The screen flickered, and suddenly the room felt colder. A low hum vibrated in his ears. He leaned closer. On the screen appeared dozens of threads, some titled in normal English, others in symbols he didn't understand. The first thread that caught his eye read, "User disappeared after posting number 17. He clicked it. The story was simple. A young man named Alex had posted about seeing someone follow him home after logging into a mysterious forum. Within a week, Alex vanished. There was no police report, no news article, nothing. Just a blank profile with a countdown timer that started from 7 days, ticking downward. Jason shivered. The next thread was even stranger. They know your screen name. Users described how the forum would somehow reveal private details, things they never typed, things only they knew. Some claimed the forum could predict events before they happened. A warning flashed on the bottom of the screen, "Do not post. Do not share. They watch." Jason laughed nervously. "This is just a creepypasta," he whispered to himself. But something in the air made him uneasy. Shadows in his room seemed to shift. The hum grew louder. Then he noticed it, a message appearing on his screen, typing itself. He froze. "Hello, Jason. We've been waiting for you." He leaned back in his chair, eyes wide. The username was admin, but there was no other sign of life behind the screen. Panic set in, yet he couldn't look away. The message continued. "Do not leave. Do not look away. Watch closely." A thread opened by itself, showing images that shouldn't exist. Pictures of Jason's apartment, his desk, even himself sitting at his chair, staring at the screen. But the photos weren't from his webcam. They were older, taken from angles that didn't exist. Every photo had a timestamp, from last night, and some even from earlier today. Jason's hands trembled. "No, this can't be real," he whispered. He tried to close the browser. Nothing. The tabs wouldn't budge. The computer seemed alive, almost pulsing. The message appeared again. "Do you see them?" He looked around his room. At first, nothing. But then, in the corner of his vision, he saw shadows moving, tall, thin, unnaturally still. They weren't human. He blinked. They weren't there. He shook his head. Maybe it was exhaustion, or maybe the forum had played a trick on his mind. The thread continued, revealing another user's story. Someone named Sarah had written about being followed by shadowy figures, just like Jason saw. She posted screenshots of the forum, describing how the images on the screen began to mirror real life, predicting terrifying events. Then she disappeared. Jason felt a cold sweat running down his back. He wanted to close the laptop, to scream, to run. But his curiosity held him frozen. Another message appeared, this time larger, redder. "Your turn to watch." Then, a video window opened. Jason's heart stopped. The video showed his own room, but in a distorted, nightmarish way. The shadows he had glimpsed before were now visible, moving slowly toward the camera. They had no faces, only dark hollows where eyes should have been. Jason's hands hovered over the keyboard, paralyzed. The screen flickered. A new message appeared. You will post, or they will come for you. Jason's mind raced. Post what? A thread? A message? He couldn't think. Fear had frozen him. He tried to close the laptop, unplug it, anything, but the device resisted. The shadows in his peripheral vision seemed closer now. The low hum turned into a deep, vibrating growl. Then, his phone buzzed. A text message from an unknown number. Jason, don't scroll. Don't click. They are not just online. He dropped the phone. It landed with a thud, but the screen lit up again. Another message. You already clicked. You already entered. They are watching. Jason's breathing became rapid. He realized he had made a mistake. An innocent curiosity had dragged him into something far beyond the internet, something alive. The forum wasn't just a website. It was a doorway, a place where the line between reality and digital nightmare blurred. And then he heard it, a whisper, soft but unmistakable, coming from behind him. Jason. He turned slowly. Nothing. The room was empty, or so it seemed. Jason didn't sleep that night. Every time he blinked, he imagined the shadows inching closer. And somewhere in the back of his mind, he knew, this was only the beginning. The forum had chosen him, and whatever they were not going to let him go. The clock ticked past 3 a.m. His laptop hummed. The screen glitched. Another thread opened, titled simply, Jason's Turn. Jason's heart raced. He knew one thing, whatever happened next, could not be undone. Jason hadn't slept. Not a wink. Every sound in his apartment seemed louder than it should have been, the creak of his floorboards, the hum of the refrigerator, even the distant sound of traffic outside. But the loudest sound was the constant buzzing of his laptop, the screen glowing faintly in the darkness. He couldn't look away. The thread titled Jason's Turn was still open. His fingers hovered over the keyboard, trembling. The forum now felt alive, like it had a mind of its own. Each new post seemed written in real time, describing what Jason was doing, sometimes even before he did it. He is shaking. He looks at the corner again. The shadows are close. Jason's eyes widened. He hadn't typed any of this. His blood ran cold. Somehow, the forum had observed him. Somehow, it knew his apartment, his habits, his very thoughts. A sudden knock at the door made him jump. No one ever knocked at this hour. He slowly approached, heart pounding. He peered through the peephole. The hallway was empty. He exhaled slowly and turned back to the laptop. Then his screen went black. Panic surged through him. He pounded on the keyboard. Nothing. The hum stopped. Silence filled the room. And just as he relaxed, the screen flickered back on, but this time, it wasn't the forum. It was live footage from his webcam, but distorted, like a reflection in broken glass. He could see himself sitting at the desk, but something was wrong. His reflection moved differently, slightly behind his real movements, twitching in ways he didn't. The shadows in the room were thicker now, darker, moving closer. Jason stepped back. Suddenly, a post appeared on the screen, written as if by the shadows themselves. Do not move. We are patient. Jason felt a chill creep down his spine. The shadows in the reflection weren't just shadows, they had shape. Long, clawed hands reaching toward him. Hollow, empty eyes staring directly at him. He tried to call 911, but his phone wouldn't work. No signal. No dial tone. Only a message on the lock screen. Your reality is ours now. Jason stumbled backward, knocking over his chair. He tripped and landed on the floor. The laptop screen glitched violently, images flashing, the forum posts, his room, and now pictures of people he didn't recognize, other users, all terrified, all frozen like him. Each image had a date. Each date matched the day they went missing. Jason's heart hammered. He wasn't the first. And if the forum had already claimed others, what would happen to him? A cold hand brushed his shoulder. He spun around. Empty room. Nothing. He backed toward the door, desperate to— Then came a whisper. Soft. Horrifyingly close. We are not on the screen anymore. Jason felt a cold pressure on his chest. Something invisible but heavy, pressing him down, pinning him to the floor. The shadows weren't just in the reflection, they were in his room now. The air turned icy. His breath came out in foggy clouds. Panic surged. He clawed at the floor, desperate, but couldn't move. A new post appeared on the cracked laptop screen, glowing through the shards. You cannot leave. You are ours. Jason screamed. The shadows began to stretch, reaching their clawed hands toward him, moving faster now, circling, looming. He tried to grab anything to defend himself, but the air felt like thick syrup, slowing every movement. He was trapped. Then, as suddenly as it began, the shadows paused. The laptop flickered. A single message appeared. We are patient. But the forum never forgets. Everything went dark. Jason collapsed, gasping. He was alone again, or at least, it seemed so. The air had warmed. The shadows were gone. He crawled to the corner, trembling. For a few minutes, nothing happened. Silence, except for the low hum of his fridge. Finally, with shaking hands, he unplugged the laptop, carried it to the balcony, and threw it over the railing. It shattered on the concrete below. Jason sank to the floor, exhausted, heart still hammering. He thought it was over. He hoped it was over. But deep inside, he knew something terrifying: the forum wasn't gone. It had left a mark on him, a connection. The shadows had watched him. They knew him. And the whispers in the corner of his mind, they weren't just imagination. He tried to sleep that night. He couldn't. Every shadow in the dark apartment seemed to twitch, every sound sounded like claws scraping the walls. And in the back of his mind, the forum's message repeated over and over. We are patient. But the forum never forgets. Jason realized, with a sinking feeling, that this was far from over. The forum had chosen him. And whatever was on the other side, was waiting. Jason thought he was safe. He had thrown the laptop off the balcony, disconnected every device, and sat in the dark, hoping the nightmare had ended. For a few hours, it seemed quiet. The hum of the city outside, the soft creak of his floorboards, it all felt normal. Almost too normal. But relief didn't last. The next morning, his phone buzzed. Jason froze. He hadn't touched it. He hadn't downloaded anything. He hadn't shared his number. Yet there it was, an unknown number, a single text. Jason, we've been waiting. Panic surged. He dropped the phone. It bounced off the table and landed face down, but the vibration continued, steady and unnerving, as if it had a life of its own. Jason's apartment suddenly felt colder. Shadows twisted unnaturally in the corners. For a moment, he thought he saw movement in the hallway outside. He spun around. Nothing. Just the dull light from the window. But the sensation of being watched didn't leave. He tried to leave the apartment, to get fresh air, to drive somewhere, anywhere. But the hallway seemed endless, stretching further than it should. Even the city outside felt wrong, too quiet, too still. The forum had crossed the line. It didn't need the laptop anymore. It was in his world now. That evening, Jason caught his reflection in the bathroom mirror, and froze. His reflection didn't match him. Its eyes were hollow, black, and empty, staring back with cruel amusement. The shadow in the mirror reached for him. Jason stumbled back, hitting the sink. The reflection smiled, a slow, twisted grin. The shadows began to stretch, slithering across the tiles like liquid darkness. A whisper filled the room. "We told you, we are patient. But we never forget." Days passed. Jason stopped eating. He barely slept. He avoided all electronics, even lights, but the messages persisted. Phones, TV screens, digital billboards outside, everywhere, the forum reached him. "Do not hide. We see you. You cannot escape. It is your turn." The shadows became bolder. One night, he saw one drift across the living room, fully in his line of sight. It moved like a predator, deliberate and patient, reaching toward him, then pausing at the edge of the light. Jason realized they were testing him, studying him. The forum had a will, and he was trapped in its experiment. Desperate, Jason called for help, friends, family, anyone, but the world seemed to have abandoned him. Calls went unanswered. Emails vanished. Even the police didn't exist in his reality anymore. It was as if the forum had erased all help, leaving him completely alone. Icy fingers. Every flicker of light cast shapes that weren't there before. Reality was bending. The forum had become his reality. He curled into a corner, shivering, trying to become invisible. But hiding did nothing. The shadows were patient. They waited. Watching. The forum was patient. It waited. Watching. And somewhere, deep inside, Jason knew there was no running. No help. No escape. As he lay in the corner, heart hammering, he whispered to himself. "Please, let me survive." But even in the silence, he could hear them, the forum's whispers, the shadows moving, the promise of tomorrow. And he knew, tomorrow, the line between digital nightmare and real horror would break completely.